Not able to be here earlier, but as he said, we had a cabinet meeting and I had actually suggested don't keep it on a Wednesday, but obviously Pragati Maidan is booked well in advance. But for all future organizers of events, Wednesday morning we have a cabinet meeting. So please don't invite us anyway. And I'd actually regretted this program, if you recall, originally. But thank you very much, Mr. Razdan, for putting together such a important program where you're looking at how India should address both the challenges of reaching power to all, ensuring its affordability, yet being very conscious of its sustainability and the environment. But I have a complaint to make. If you're going to get all my officers over here, then how do we expect this work to happen on the ground? I have not yet on any stage come across an occasion where every of my senior team, every leader of my senior team is available on one stage. I could actually have a power ministry meeting over here. But it speaks volumes for Mr. Razdan's persuasive demeanor, as well as the very important subject that you are all deliberating today. And thank you for putting this all together. I think this will also very well mesh into the Make in India program that we are encouraging in India. Thank you, Mr. Glenn Ensor. I have all my colleagues here, Mr. K.M. Singh, Mr. Gurdeep Singh, Mr. Jha, Mr. Atul Sopti. I believe Upendraji has just left. Mr. Rajan Sharma, Mr. Udesh Kohli. And I think truly a veritable set of gentlemen who are making the wheels of the power sector run smoothly and whose work I personally would like to acknowledge has been exemplary in the last 2 years. Thank you very much to each one of you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as Mr. Razdan rightly pointed out, this is one government led by Prime Minister Modi which understands that while our objective is to reach power to all, the twin aspects of affordability and sustainability or its impact on the environment have to be simultaneously addressed, have to be ensured, have to be taken care of on a very sustainable, on a long-term basis. And therefore, all the plans that we have undertaken in the last 2 years have largely drawn from these basic principles or the basic mission that this government has set out to do. I believe you have 200 exhibitors across this exhibition, and possibly the 20th year you have been doing this. So I think it's a milestone, a landmark occasion where I would urge all of you during the course of the day to develop themes around these twin objectives so that we can be more enlightened about how we can do our job better. Clearly we don't claim, and none of us on this stage claims, that we are the repository of all knowledge or that we've got it all sorted out and we've got everything, we've got all the knowledge in the world to make this happen. I'm sure the various technologies that are on display today, the various technologies that each one of you bring to the table from within India and also internationally will help us take this objective forward in a much faster way so that the 24/7 power for all that we had originally articulated as our mission for 2022, we can hopefully achieve that by 2019, a good 3 years ahead of schedule, thanks to the effort of all of this room put together. It's truly a team effort. It can't be done by any one individual or even a group of individuals. It will be a team effort of 125 crore Indians, all working together, conspiring together to achieve which many believed was impossible. And my own 2 years in government give me the confidence to say that it is doable and we shall do it. 2019, we want to take power to every home in this country. Of course, they'll have to apply for it. I can't force power into somebody's home without an application on hand. But I'm actually telling my officers, we have to go for it. We'll be going to people's homes, making a simple half-page format. Just give us your Aadhaar number, give us your name, write down the address, maybe a mobile number if you have an email ID, and sign that I am desirous of a power connection, and I'll follow the rules, terms and conditions, rules of the game. That's it. We want to keep it simple, but we will go and ask people to take a power connection. We won't wait for them to apply. But even after that, if a pressman goes and locates one home and comes up with a sensational discovery that I've been fibbing about what I've done, then it's God help them. I won't get deterred from my target, from my objective. And I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on the press, so I hope this doesn't become some kind of an adversarial platform. It's just that I want to set the context right. And this mission, why do I say it's doable? Because we've been able to identify what are those critical elements which will help make this into a reality. If you will recall, it was barely 2 years ago when you would have screaming headlines talking about when this country will run out of power, when the power plants will run out of coal. The sad state of affairs of nearly 20,000 megawatts of gas-based plants out of the 24,000 capacity that we have in India. The stalled hydro projects. The fact that the solar mission, probably 32 years after the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy was first set up as a department and then upgraded into a ministry, had achieved 2,500 megawatt of solar power. 32-year-old department. 2,500 megawatt of solar power as on 26 May when I became a minister, or thereabouts. The entire thinking, the entire mindset needed a transformation. And to my mind, somebody the other day asked me, what would you call as the biggest achievement of 2 years? And I believe the biggest achievement of the 2 years gone by has been the change in mindset, not of the government alone, but of India as a nation, where this country today and the people of India feel empowered to be aggressive in their expectations, to have bold expectations. The positivity that we can do it against that cynicism and pessimism that had almost been creeping into our society, and more dangerously was seeping into this young generation, which is the future of this country. And I could actually sense it when I met with college students, young boys and girls, that feeling that we are doomed to survive as we are. This nation is doomed to be a corrupt nation. This nation is doomed to live without power, to live without basic amenities. We are doomed to live far, far, far behind than what other countries have possibly achieved. And I think it's that sense of optimism, that self-confidence in our own ability to achieve extraordinary results, to get the nation back on track, to have a nation where corruption is history. That confidence, I think, is the biggest achievement of 2 years. And I'd like to compliment each one of you in this room and the people of India for having come up to this challenge, for having accepted that each challenge as we come across them, each crisis that we face, we can convert into an opportunity. Each crisis is the seed for a better tomorrow. Each problem that we are confronted with gives us the solution to do our job better. We can leapfrog technology. We can plan to scale. We can enjoy the benefits of economies of scale. We can do our job with the best of class of technologies available around the world, skillfully. We can do our job honestly so that the entire power infrastructure, the costs of power in this country can be kept affordable. we can do our job on time. Because timetables are something India has never, over many, many decades, ever believed to have any sanctity. It's probably for the first time, we as a nation are taking every timeline as sacrosanct, as something we are deeply committed to. So if we have to achieve a result, it has to be done on time. And it's this change in mindset that I believe is that foundational change which sets this country apart from the past, different from other countries in and around the neighborhood or even other emerging or developing nations, and which give me the confidence that we are poised. We are at that inflection point where this country, our beloved India, is going to see decades of prosperity going forward. And power, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the fulcrum of that prosperity which the people of India truly deserve. In a short span of 2 years, this nation has moved from a coal-starved nation to a nation which has surplus coal. I remember in a meeting in August 2014, I don't know if any of the people here were there. It was a Coal India meeting at Hotel Ashok, very close by. And it was about midnight when I literally wrenched my hair and said, Coal India will have to produce 1 billion tons if we've got to sort out this problem. And on that day, I had actually told the Director Marketing of Coal India that 1.5 years from now, I want to see you going with a bowl trying to market coal, which should truly be the job of a marketing director, rather than allocating coal as a favor to somebody or sitting on your chair and waiting for the consumer to come and beg of you to give you coal, to give him coal. I'm delighted that it took less than 1.5 years to achieve that. And today we have a situation, the country has surplus coal. Most of the gas plants which were stranded have now come on stream, started generating. Some of the hydro projects have got resolved. For example, I had a project, you'll be amazed, Teesta in Sikkim. And Sikkim has very important geopolitical connotations also. That project was stalled, work had stopped after more than 90% of the investment was made and possibly more than 95% of the work was complete. That project was stalled. Investors, and there were global, 4 or 5 global investors. Singh Saab knows the whole story, the NHPC chairman. 4 or 5 global investors were scared to come to India because there were arrest warrants against them filed in courts in Hyderabad. The investors were fighting with the promoter, was fighting with the state government, was fighting with the government of India, the ministry, was fighting with their bankers, was fighting with their EPC contractor, was fighting with the lenders, engineers. Everybody had problems with each other. But the difference is that if you come out clean and if your heart and mind is clear that there is no vested interest, there is no problem which cannot be resolved. And I'm delighted to share with you, not only has that project come back on stream last year, but very soon, kab tak Singh Saab, by end of this year? By December. Before the end of calendar 2016, that plant will start generating power and serving this nation with hydropower, saving 10,000-12,000 crores, which was otherwise a sunk investment, and giving confidence to 5 global investors. I think the likes of Goldman Sachs and all, that their investment in India is safe, will be protected, and should there be any difficulty, they have a responsive government to which they can go and help to sort out problems. Similarly, transmission, which was a major challenge, has been an area of deep focus. Mr. Jha and his team have done exemplary work. Today, South India, the states of South India, have 71% more transmission ability than they had 2 years ago. And in the next 2 years, I believe the plan is to increase it by another 80% on the larger base, effectively ensuring that India can have one nation, one grid, one power, available one price available on the power exchange 24/7. Any part of India needs power, log on to my mobile app and you can actually buy power. You can actually buy power on the mobile phone if you are a state discom or the Delhi discoms. Of course, I recently have been receiving some calls that there's some problems in Delhi. There's some power outages that we have been reading about. I think you were there, Mr. Jha, in that meeting with the Delhi. I actually had called the Delhi government, its leadership and officers 2 or 3 weeks ago to appraise them that so many of our projects which we had initiated for Delhi have not really taken off, have not worked the way we would like them to ensure that the citizens of Delhi get 24/7 uninterrupted power. But they have assured me that they have everything under control and that there will be no power outages. You were there. They specifically have assured me they have sorted out all the issues and assured me that Delhi will have no power outage. I do hope they fulfill that assurance to the people of Delhi. But if they still have a problem, I think we are all ready to help and support any state in this country which needs help, be it fuel, be it transmission lines, be it last mile connectivity and distribution infrastructure. In every respect, the government of Prime Minister Modi stands committed to support every stakeholder in this system. And of course, one critical element of our plans is the renewable energy program. Probably India today has the world's largest renewable energy program underway. The world's largest. 175 gigs by 2022 will be history in the making, 5 times what we are now. And that provides a huge, huge investment opportunity. The Make in India program, where we are going to very soon come out with a policy to encourage solar equipment manufacturing in India further, is going to provide huge investment opportunities. The technological innovations that we want to bring to India, be it smart meters, be it better quality distribution transformers, be it high quality energy efficient LED bulbs is already underway in a big way, but agricultural pumps, for example, industrial boilers and equipment, turbines, so many opportunities for somebody who's got a good idea, somebody who wants to bring new technology, somebody who wants to come and make in India. I assure every one of you who's planning to come to India to be a part of this great growth story and business opportunity, that this government stands committed to supporting Indian manufacturing. And if you have any issues which are of the nature of inverted duties, while we've been trying to resolve a lot of that, but if there's anything which is still in any form an inverted duty structure and an unfair competition, please do flag it off with us. But the important thing to note is this will be a corruption-free regime. This will be a regime which will think to scale so that we can leverage economies of scale. This will be a regime which wants to get the best of technology, the latest in the world available, but calibrated and suitable to the Indian context. So I don't get a Mercedes-Benz maybe, but I get a good car which transports me to the next destination in an efficient manner. So in smart meters, for example, we are trying to design the meter such that it gives me a tamper-proof equipment with ability for remote reading through the wireless or whatever system. But I don't need the 50 other fancy features. I'll rather have something which is affordable, which I can roll out to scale and ensure that everybody in the country benefits from. So leveraging on high technology, leveraging on the Make in India program, I am very confident that this challenge that we have undertaken, particularly in the context of having sufficient power generating ability today, I can, Mr. Razdan, to answer your point, visualize India doubling its energy production on the back of existing projects running to full efficiency, on the back of more efficient utilization of this existing capacity, on the back of the renewable energy and other UMPPs and other projects that I'll be bidding out in the days to come, and on the back of capacity which is already in the pipeline. On the back of that, I'm confident that by 2022 or 23, India will be doubling its power generation and supply to the people and to industry. And by 2030, I expect it to be anywhere between 3.5 to 4 times what it is today. That's the business opportunity that India offers, ladies and gentlemen. And I would urge all of you to participate in this, because to my mind, as Napoleon used to say, nothing is impossible. And in some sense, if we are able to succeed in this mission, and in fact this mission was articulated by Edison many, many years ago. Thomas Edison had said, we should make electricity so cheap, so affordable, so that only the rich need to burn candles in their homes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the commitment of this government to the people of India. We are here to transform the power sector into a powerhouse serving the people of India. All of us as a team are looking at this not as a job alone, not something which is going to feed our families, but as a mission. And it's a mission critical mode in which we are working. I appeal to all of you to support us, to encourage us, criticize us where we do something wrong. Constructive criticism is much, much welcome, helps us, empowers us to do a better job, and help us do this work in a most efficient, honest, and fast-track manner, so that the mission 24/7, which we had planned for 2022, we can complete by 2019. Because as I said earlier, we owe it to them. We owe it to the poor of India. We owe it to those large number of young boys and girls who don't get the privilege that we in Mumbai and Delhi and Bangalore get of a quality education, of quality opportunities. Let's all of us work together to make this mission a grand success. Thank you very much.